Hey everybody, happy Monday. Lydia Joy here, stopping by live this Monday to have an honest conversation with you guys about stress, chronic stress, anxiety. And I hope you'll join me. I hope you'll comment. I really do want to hear from you. For those of you who don't know me, I'm a mind-body coach, nutritional therapy practitioner, single mom of 4 fabulous boys. And I myself have spent quite some time, the last decade, overcoming PTSD, adrenal burnout, and so much more. And this past week, some things came up with women who I coach and people who I'm speaking to who want to know how they can work with me, as well as just everyday friendships about stress and even anxiety. And I want to have an honest conversation here. So let's just kind of flesh this out. And at the end of the video, I'll share, more resources for you as to where you can read on my website, and if you need additional support and you want to ask me how we could work together. So stay tuned for that. I'll be posting a link. What I've noticed, and for those of you who are women who are moms, maybe you're a single mom, or maybe you've gone through a divorce even. We as women are incredible at nurturing and supporting others, and sometimes maybe you notice this, I hope, can do it to the neglect of ourselves. And I think societally that's something we see pretty obviously. So I'm really taking a stand here for women specifically to think about this kind of stuff. So as I am a nutritional therapist, I know the statistics on chronic stress and how majority of doctors' visits are due to chronic stress, as well as the increase in rise in anxiety in our nation. And there's a lot of reason for this. And it is very common, and there's not something specifically wrong with you, or you're not broken per se if you struggle with these things. It's actually really common. And there's a lot of reasons why. It's a very there's a lot of moving parts, let's just put it that way. And I want to bring attention to it because I want people to make more connections to its role in their lives. So this past week I had conversations with several women who found themselves in a major health crisis and realized, they just didn't have enough support in their life. They didn't have enough stress relief care in their life. There are just a lot of things that made it so their body was more susceptible, unfortunately. And it wasn't, something that necessarily you could have foreseen, right? You know how a lot of times people will end up in an unfortunate health crisis, and it's not always something we foresee. And so I feel like it's important to kind of bring this all up so we can all think about this preventatively, so you don't end up like someone like me in a major breakdown and taking, forever to recover from it. So chronic stress is probably one of the biggest issues we face, and it can lead to things like anxiety. Stress, is something that our bodies should be able to handle from time to time. We need a stress and we need rest. We need that balance between the two for our nervous system, which is capable of handling both. But when the stress is chronic and when we aren't like fully equipped to handle it, like our bodies are at some kind of a deficit, or you don't have the right raw ingredients inside of you, and your chronic stress is unrelenting and doesn't give you a reprieve for enough time, it can really burn your body out. And then you can find yourself struggling a lot more with something like anxiety. And I think there's kind of sometimes still, unfortunately, like a stigma around anxiety where I guess we feel like, oh, that's like a mental illness. And there are so many kind of levels of struggling with anxiety. And it can be something that kind of comes to us later in life when we've had a lot of stress and we're like, where is this coming from? I don't understand why I struggle so much now to calm myself down anymore, whereas I used to be able to. And so there's so many things you can do to support yourself, as well as be gentle with yourself when you find yourself in that state, and focus more on, what you can do, and not feel that you have to, be stuck per se. So I've written some stuff on my website recently. I've been talking a lot more about anxiety and trying to kind of help you see there are many layers and there's many pieces of the puzzle, and there's a lot that you can really do on a daily basis to support yourself if you struggle with this. So you can, really get through life in a much better position, well equipped, empowered, doing what you can do instead of feeling, the temptation to be victimized by not being able to calm yourself down or struggle with, that deep overwhelm of anxiety. Now, for those of you who aren't clear on, recognizing what anxiety even looks like, because maybe you don't think you struggle with it, because I sure didn't. I sure had no clue that it was something that I was dealing with. So it can show up in a lot of ways. You could be chronic overthinking. I have totally been guilty of that, to the point of like you're overthinking so much that you're not getting things done. Like you're not able to like actually do something about what you're chronically overthinking. Does anybody relate to that? Avoiding basic things that you need to do, that are going to make your day-to-day life better. Excessive sweating, you could have stomach issues, the more obvious things like panic attacks. I've had a couple mini ones and one really big one in my life, and I didn't recognize that it was a longer term thing that was happening in me, and so I just thought, I just had a panic attack. I don't know why. Memory issues even. Insomnia is a big one. I know a lot of people really struggle to sleep. And if your sleep is impaired chronically, it's kind of like a setup for some of these things to kind of fall into your life, unfortunately. So, you're going to want to look into how you can sleep better and things like that. Rapid heartbeat is another one. You want to pay attention to that. If it starts to show up in your life and you don't understand where it's coming from, look into it. Chronic headaches, trouble breathing, constant worrying. If you're somebody who feels like you always need to be reassured, like you feel hesitancy to do things without a lot of reassurance and prodding from others, and lack of patience, procrastination. So those are just some of the things that, if you have a collection of them going on and you're recognizing it, you may want to think about how you can support yourself more deeply when it comes to this. And there's a lot you can do. It doesn't have to feel super overwhelming. There's definitely a way you can go about it where you just support yourself gently over time and keep doing so, to just ensure you're best able to cope and manage. So I just wanted to bring that up today because it's been coming up a lot more and more, especially with folks that I'm speaking with and working with. And I figured since that's the case, maybe more of you could relate. So if this is something that resonates with you, feel free to leave me a comment, and check out the blog. There are several articles on there to get you kind of some insight and support. And then if you need further support, you can always reach out to me as well. All right, sound good? I hope you guys have a good rest of your Monday. I am looking forward to spring. It is almost here, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.